Hmm. Okay, looks like we're live. Uh, Hi everybody. Thank you so much for joining our stream today. My name is Shedrack Akintayo. You've probably seen me on one of the eCHO episodes, the one I did with Cesnam, but today I have a very fantastic guest with me. Our topic for today would be implementing zero trust security with Cilium and WS02, but there's more. There's actually more. So today with me is Lakmal. Lakmal is a very good friend of the Cilium community and is always happy to contribute. Today he has come to tell us about how they are using Cilium at WS02 for their, for some of their products. So before we get into Lakmal, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you, Shedrack. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone who is joining from different part of the world. Yeah, so my name is Lakmal Warusawithana. I'm working in WSO2. Uh, I'm looking after cloud architecture and some scalability and network kind of work in our cloud offering called Choreo.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lakmal, for coming on the call today. So before we go into the order of the day, I want to quickly highlight that the CFP for eBPF Summit has been extended until next week, Wednesday. So you should get your talks in if you've not gotten it in yet. And the event will also happen on the 11th of September. And lastly, there's also a program community application coming out that's live at the moment. So if you want to shape how the eBPF summit should look like, please, we would definitely love if you could volunteer by submitting an application in. And also, we have Cilium and eBPF Day happening on the 12th of November in as a KubeCon collocated event um, on the 12th of November. The CFP is pretty much over now. So if you've not submitted your CFP, see you next year. And if you have, we look forward to getting your talk accepted and seeing the exciting talks that have been submitted. So let's just dive right into it. So Lakmal, can you tell us a bit about what WSO2 is and like your SaaS offering, Choreo?
Yeah. So WSO2 is a global software company, develop products like and services like API management, enterprise integration, identity and access management. And it's founded in 2005. Now we have more than 800 direct customers and 5,000 OEM customers and over 25,000 open source customers. And very recently, WSO2 introduced a cloud offering called Choreo. It's a comprehensive internal developer platform as a service that support the complete life cycle of software engineering.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. So the order of the day is obviously Cilium, right? So how long has WSO2 been or Choreo been using Cilium?
Yeah, so we started like integrating Cilium maybe 2 years back. Now it's production nearly 1 year. We are using Cilium in production nearly 1 year now. Yeah.
Interesting. So right now, what does your current team infrastructure look like, and like your current IT infrastructure and your current team? What's like the scale of it at the moment?
Yeah. So, so Korea, we have different. In Korea, like we have the control plane and we have multiple data plane. Where data planes are the scalable clusters. We have even two flavor of data plane. We call it cloud data plane and the private data plane. So cloud data plane is something like a shared data plane. So it's a couple of cloud data plane we are running across the multiple regions, and this cloud data plane consists of like 70-80 node per cluster, and we have altogether we have around 30 clusters running across the world. Yeah. You're mute, Shedrack.
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry. Always happens. Yeah, so thank you so much for like the numbers. Like what I'm interested in is what challenge did you have with your previous setup that made you look for something different? And yeah, that's basically what I want to understand, because it looks like there's a lot of value you've gotten for Cilium so far, but I want us to go back to like, how did we get here? Like, what issues were you having?
Sure, yeah. So yeah, the initially like the Choreo is like I said, is a complete developer internal developer platform. So one feature of this platform is to provide observability to our users. So initially we had this observability coming from the language level plugins. Later, our strategy switched to support a multi-language platform. Because of that, we evaluated different technology, how we can support this observability to our end users. One option was the go with the service mesh offering, and we evaluated a couple of service mesh offering. Uh, so, like I said, some of our clusters running 70, 80 nodes, and like it's like running 6,000 to 800 kind of workload within a single cluster. But when we're evaluating a service mesh offering, a traditional service mesh offering, I would say they need to attach a sidecar to
Yeah,
our workload. So
yeah.
that was then we have to expand our clusters more, 40% to 50% additional nodes to add to support this sidecar overhead. So that was not justifiable for us. So then we had to look at different solution. Then so I in the same line I was looking into the technology like eBPF. So I was start reading and learning the stuff in eBPF, how these things work, and I was fascinated about the technology and the things we can do using eBPF. Then I looking into different solutions that provide this kind of observability through the eBPF technology. Initially, so I find out two interesting project. One is a Cilium, other one is a Pixie as the solution. Then so I when I evaluated two offering, I was more into the Cilium, but when I want to take this into our management and our, especially for the SRE, the operation people, they
Yeah.
don't want to change the CNI because they are very comfortable. At that time, we are running on top of Asia cloud provider. So
Okay.
because of that, our operation team want to get the direct support from Asia. Otherwise, they don't want to change the CNI. Then at that time, Asia doesn't support the Cilium CNI as a Asia support service. Uh,
Yeah.
because of that, I had to look for different option. Then I was convinced my management saying that okay, we are without changing CNI, maybe we can use Pixie as the observability offering, and we went with Pixie. Then the initial offering we provided from Pixie. Uh, but when we went to the production as well, then when you are going forward, our strategy also changed that we want to keep the data, the observable data within the cluster itself.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's one of the requirement. And also we want to provide some other features like service mesh features, resiliency features, and different features. So with that, so we had a limitation in architecture in the Pixie. So we have to export, send out the collected data to the central cloud, and then visualize and get the observability dashboarded. So that's not going with our new strategy. Then again, I went to our management leadership saying that okay, if you want to do this, we have to go with the Cilium. So then that's why that's where we took the challenge, and then we, even without getting direct support from the Asia, we went with open source version with Cilium, and we start R&D and converting our clusters to run on Cilium.
Oh, nice. Nice. So, um, So you had to choose between. So when you did your evaluation, you settled for Pixie or Cilium, right? But you also had the issue where your engineering team, your SRE team, did not want to switch to CNI from like whatever it is they were using at the time to Cilium, and that's one of the reasons why you eventually were reluctant to make the switch.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct.
So you also talked about the requirements and all of that. So you had all these requirements, right? But eventually you moved to Cilium, right? So what made Cilium the best choice, like for your use case? What made Cilium the best choice?
Yeah, there are a couple of things. Sorry, like so initially the requirement was only the observability, but I loved the Cilium architecture. So basically, even though Cilium use eBPF to in support layer 3, layer 4 observability, and
Yeah,
it has the layer 7 engagement with Onoi proxy. So
yeah,
that gives like a different we can introduce different features like service mesh features, and also we can enforce some layer 7 policies. So that was the main reason I want to go with the Cilium, because it's not over using the ePPF, but it's use the ePPF as a core technology, but it used the other technologies in place, provide a very flexible architecture. Yeah, that's the one of the reason. And like I said, we want to have the zero trust architecture. Basically, we want to encrypt all the network traffic. Then we want to implement service mesh features like retries, circuit breaker into the platform. Then we want to enforce some header manipulation within the cluster. So all these things can be done within the Cilium if you install Cilium in your cluster. So because of that, that's a very correct choice for us, and implement a lot of features on top of the Cilium.
I see. Okay, yes, that sounds like a lot of that actually makes a lot of sense. So for us to like move forward, what does the solution look like? Like where does Cilium come in? I know you have like some slides like you want to show us today. So this might probably be timeless. We should talk about that.
Yeah, let me try to share my screen. Can you see, Shedrack?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let me briefly touch the one slide with the Choreo architecture, because it's easier to understand the rest of the technical detail. So
Okay.
this is the high-level architecture. Like I said, we have a control plane and we have a data plane. And one the other strategy we went forward is we want to support this the data plane across multi-cloud. It shouldn't be tied to a single cloud vendor. So
Yeah.
that's the one other reason we want to choose Cilium. And so basically, all the our users' data or customers' data reside in this uh, data plane, and we don't want to export this data into the control plane for any reason, and we keep this all the data within the data plane itself, and also traffic within the data plane itself. So that's the main design principle we use. And when you come to the observability, so this is the architecture we have implemented in the Choreo now. So, we are running Cilium as a CNI, and we enable the Cilium layer 7 service mesh features as well. And then so uh, uh, we collect the data from Cilium agents and every node, and
Okay.
Prometheus will scrape this data, and then within the Prometheus we use the Thanos and Thanos queries, and our UIs query this get the Thanos queries to visualize, get the visualization that collect data from the Cilium agent. So this is the basic architecture, that how we support the observability. And
Okay.
because of the Cilium support layer 3, layer 4, as well as layer 7 observability, So without manual instrumentation of the user code, we were able to provide the good enough observability to our end user. So that's the observability architecture we use with the Cilium.
Okay.
And then this is where how we implement the zero trust security. So and I would say so I love to read the Cilium equivalent blog post. So one of the main the learning source I usually use. So one day I read this zero trust security implementation using Cilium in the several blog posts. So and I
Okay.
realized, okay, so yes, now since we also having Cilium CNI in our clusters, we can do the same. So then I realized, okay, okay, we can do beyond that, because we have the architecture in place, like we call it cell-based architecture. We have that the principal building blocks to us to create all these user workload. Let me explain a bit in that. So
Okay.
our platform user can start their software designing by using domain-driven design, and then when after the design is complete, this domain can be mapped to a deployment unit called cell. This is a cell
Mm-hmm.
that is a group of services running within a network bounded environment. So this cell is in technical terms is like a Kubernetes namespace plus a couple of bunch of Cilium network policies. So then the services running inside the cell only can expose explicitly via the API gateways
API gateway.
we have in place. So we have two API gateways. One was the external API gateway. One was the internal API gateway. So external API gateway exposed to the internet, and the internal API gateway where you can call inter-cell communication within the organization. So then like a zero trust principles, never trust, always verified. And because of this architecture, because we are explicitly exposing services via the gateway, the request always authenticated and authorized. So that's the one of the principle. And then using Cilium and WireGuard network encryption, we encrypted entire traffic within the cluster. So that provides the second requirement to complete the zero trust security. And
Okay.
like I said, this is a like a Kubernetes namespace plus
Namespace. Yeah.
and Cilium network policies. So because of that, no one can interact with these services unless it's come through the gateway, API gateway. So even though someone exploited within the cell, that that request or that person or that malicious activity with bounded to the cell only. So likewise, we have this micro segmentation. That's one of the zero trust principle. And using the Cilium layer 3, layer 4, we could provide the network boundary and no the additional access only access are providing via the API gateway. So that's the second use case we use Cilium, and
Um.
also yeah, go ahead, Shedrack.
Yeah, I have one question. The API gateway you have, is it implemented with Cilium or is it an external offering?
Yeah, so at the moment we are using, like I said, we are a API management solution company. So we have
Yeah.
a gateway. So we use
Okay.
Onno as API gateway. So later I will explain. We have a plan to integrate this API management into the Cilium Onno as well. I will
Okay.
explain what that means.
All right.
But for the moment, we are using our API gateway again, which are implemented on top of Cilium Onno.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
And the next feature we implemented using Cilium is the service mesh resiliency features we provide our users. Now, because of we are having the Cilium Onoi, we can configure Cilium Onoi by using Cilium Onoi config policies. So basically, what happened? This is like a different when you come to the service mesh mindset, having a sidecar. So when you're having a sidecar, every client and server attach either ONOI or different proxy. Then you can identify the client when within the client prod itself. But because of Cilium, we are running ONOI, Cilium ONOI as a daemon in each node. Client doesn't have any identification, so we need to have some kind of unique identification to identify the client. This is where we use unique HTTP header. And when you come to this ONOI, you can implement resiliency configuration like a circuit breaker, retry by using this unique header. So we integrated that with the Cilium ONOI config, and our users can configure their resilience features, and they can use these resiliency features like retry, circuit breaker into their workload. This is the other feature we use Cilium integrated into the Choreo IDP platform.
I see. That looks really, really interesting. So, you know, initially when we spoke, it was more of only zero trust, but
Yes.
I've not. I This is actually very, very new. Yeah, we should probably maybe update the case study or something like sometime in the future. So, what, you know, doing the experience, right? What, what value has this particular solution provide you? Like, how did it change your situation for the better?
Yeah, so that's give a lot of flexibility for us to like introduce new features that run top of this Cilium. That's one of the main benefit we got out of the integrated with Cilium. And second thing is like we provide this the platform to our customers. We want to isolate their workload. We want to provide the zero trust net security for their workloads. So by using this Cilium as the core technology, we were very easy to convince our customers to onboard their workload into our platform. So that provide very easy to go to market with all the security requirement. And also like because of having ONOI, transparent ONOI, we can intercept all the traffic with the transparently with the ONOI. We can do a lot of header manipulation. Like because of that, we were able to like we are planning to bring few other features using this capability. So that the one other key benefit we are getting. We can introduce a lot of new features because of we are having the infrastructure, Cilium infrastructure in our clusters now.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for that addition. I think one more question would be: were there any like issues you had while, you know, doing the whole migration or bringing Cilium in, and like how were you able to solve them?
Yeah, a couple of challenges I would say, and a couple of incidents also. I will share this information. So one, the initial challenge we faced, like I said, initially we had this Asia as the our cloud provider, and at that time we couldn't migrate the Asia CNI to the Cilium CNI within the cluster itself. So that was the major challenge we faced when we onboard in the Cilium at the first time. So then I had to take the ownership and the risk and see how we can do the migration. What we have done at the time, so we created the separate cluster, Cilium cluster, and then
Mm-hmm.
we the two clusters running parallelly, and we took the one project by project for our customer workloads and migrated to the new cluster which run in Cilium, and we plan the like a rollback. Everything is we plan if something went wrong, and that migration went over 9 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like a massive effort. We migrated every clusters into the Cilium cluster, but after that, I think it was very easy as to like rolling update the versions, everything. Then while we are doing that, then let me share my screen again.
Yeah, sure.
So we have like we have a couple of things we learn in hard way. Um, let me go in detail. So one thing is so like I said, we have some large clusters running 80, 90 nodes, and like 6,000 to 8,000 workloads running in within their clusters. And because of this network policy and the cell architecture, we are running like the 20,000 kind of network policies within these clusters. And initially, like we use Cilium network policies in the namespace level policies, and that hit the first like a barrier, where then it will end up is having a 80,000 kind of not 20,000, like nearly 80,000 kind of network policies. So that was not scalable, and it got a lot of memory usage in the Cilium agents. Then we have optimized that into use Cilium cluster-wide policy. So
Okay.
I would recommend, if someone want to use looking into this large clusters using Cilium
Cluster wide.
policies, yeah, use the cluster-wide policy as possible. Uh, then even that, because of other requirement, we are running around 20,000 network policies, which bring Cilium agent to, when Cilium agent to restart, it will take like around 2 minutes to restart. So because of this daemon set, at that time we will hit the traffic disruption. That was one of the main challenge we initially identified. Then even though we now we have separated out the agent and the Onoi Cilium Onoi running separate ports, even that problem is there, like because even Onoi need to get time to restart, because we enable all the traffic layer 7 enforcement. All the traffic will go via this Cilium Onoi. So what we have done as a workaround or solution, so we change our rolling update strategy. So normally, if you know the daemon set only support the rolling update or on delete when you do the new update to the daemon set. So we change rolling update to the on delete, and then what happened? So whenever we introduce a new version of Cilium, uh, the new version is in place, but nothing restart because it's on delete. The new node will come with the new version. The previous nodes will be reside as it is. Then we have done like normally Kubernetes upgrade mechanism, like grain the existing node into the new node. Likewise, we
Okay.
automated the pipeline to run through entire clusters. Using this technique, we were able to upgrade Cilium new versions without any any downtime or zero traffic disruption. So that's the one of workaround we use. And the I think second one is because of now this again another challenge we are facing at the moment, because of the Cilium Onoi config is attached into the service. So if you want to enable retry circuit breaker into the this service, so like I said, we are running 8,000 kind of services. Then each service will attach a Cilium Onoi config. That will introduce another challenge. So either we need to we don't have a solution for the at the moment. It can be a for the smaller clusters. definitely there's no issue. But if you're running a larger clusters, this can be a issue, but we may need to find a solution to identify, mitigate the issue. The third one is a very interesting issue. Let me go to the next slide. So this was an incident happened in our staging cluster. Uh, so what was happened, initially when we are setting up Cilium, we went with default CIDR range that's comes with the Cilium. It was a 10.0.0.0/8.
Yeah.
So our understanding was so because of this virtual IP, it's doesn't interact with the other IP within the cluster, within the outside of the cluster. So because of that, we didn't want to change the default CIDR range. We went with the default CIDR range, and we tested. There's nothing issue, nothing. There's no issue, and then like I said, we went to the production, and all our staging and dev classes also running the same CIDR range. And after 8 months, so in the one day when we promote our new releases into the stage, then suddenly our SRE team identified entire traffic went off. No single traffic come to the cluster. So that was a very weird situation, because we knew that there's no our release impacting to the network layer. Then so because of that, because of the staging, I said don't change the don't try to fix the issue. We'll identify the root cause, and we didn't want to go blindly what happening on the this issue. Then we try to collect the stat data. We could troubleshoot the issue, and we also got the Asia network team into the call. And because of there's some of the these components are managed by the Asia, like a firewall, these things. So we don't have much visibility in that sense. So while we identify the issue, it was a very interesting issue. Let me try to explain it. So normally, so this is a simplified version of what happening inside our clusters. So whenever user call some services running on the workload inside the Kubernetes cluster, so it first hit the firewall, and
Yes.
then it do the destination net, and default it will do the SNET as well, change the source IP to the firewall IP, and then go to the load balancer, and load balancer will do the traffic route into the particular Cilium node, and then go to the pod. So the what happened now, the response path is come and go to the back to the user. So what happened, like I said, when we promote our release, because of the new rolling out, it is a new node. When that happened, entire cluster getting entire cluster didn't respond any of the traffic.
Traffic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what happened was, now when we get the new node, that because of the CIDR range, that new node comes with the firewall IP range. So then what happened? We use this Asia load balancer with direct server return. In that configuration, normally what happened, when you return path, when you come to the Cilium node level, it bypass the load balance IP and directly try to send to the firewall. So now, because of Cilium node level, there's whenever new node add to the cluster, it will add another routing rule to the local routing. Now that new IP, even though it's the virtual IP within that cluster, is conflict with the firewall IP. Then what happened? Cilium do add the new routing rule, route that traffic into the new node. Now, because of that, it doesn't go to the firewall. All the traffic are router to local new node, and there's no destination after that. So we saw in the firewall level there's no response back to the firewall. So so that's the root cause. Then we change the side range that doesn't conflict with the firewall virtual IPs. And then what we have done is we did the live migration to the new side range
Right
within Cilium
range.
cluster. Yeah, so that also we did a lot of experiment within the our in-house because even Cilium community documentation not encourage to do that, but we do a lot of testing, and we took the risk, and we saw it we can do it within the side range change within the clusters, and eventually we did the live migration without any issue. We was able to migrate entire side range into the new side range by using the node grain technique.
I
This
see.
was an interesting issue we had so far.
Interesting. Well, as long as like the main thing is everything is running well, everything is going great. I think that's fine. I think one more question. I have two more questions. My first question would be like in your whole experience, like given your own experience, what has been the best thing for you while using Cilium?
Yeah, I think it's very stable.
Mm,
I would say that's one of the best experience. So even we use open source version, it's very stable. And second thing is the community support. And I love the Cilium community. And whenever we want to get some information or some understanding, we reach out the community and very responsive. And that's the second best thing I learn from the Cilium. I get from the Cilium community. So
I see.
yeah, I think these are the main two things I would say the best uh, choice of using Cilium. Yeah.
Using Cilium, interesting. Thank you. The Cilium community definitely, is really, really interesting. Very, very interesting community. So much support. I think that's what I also like personally about the Cilium community is how everybody is willing to help you out, and it's just really exemplary for like other projects. My last question would be, what do you plan to do to your setup next or in the future with relation to Cilium?
Yeah. So let me go to the next slide here. So this is the one thing we want to do with the, as a next feature. Like I said, so we are a API management company. So we
Yeah,
use Onoi as API gateway. Now we started doing initial R&D, the using Cilium Onoi as a API gateway itself. So we started this R&D work, and because of what we can do is we can convert gateway API spec into the Cilium Onoi config, and then configure Cilium Onoi config to do the API management. So we have done some implementation, and we have sent the upstream PR to the Cilium committee as well. I think it's still in the review state. So we love to contribute back this work to the Cilium community as we use in our platform. We love to community adapt in any case they wish to use. So yeah, so this is what next thing we are going to try out and support in our Choreo users.
I see. Okay, I think that's like the last of my questions. I think the next thing would be, do you have any like resources you want to share with the Cilium community? I know we have the case studies. Then there's also the implementing zero trust security in Choreo resources. So, folks, if you are interested in getting like see reading the case study, the Cilium's WS02 case study, and also the how they were able to implement zero trust security with Cilium. I have this in the echo repo. So if you find the echo repo and you found episode 145, you will have links to all these things. Lakmal, is there anything else you want to like add for the community?
Yeah, I think so. It's a very interesting journey as to choose Cilium, And my recommendation, if you're using Cilium, try to get more technical, in-depth technical knowledge. Then it's easy to understand architecture, everything. Then you can use Cilium, and the stability and the community support is very superb. So don't afraid to use it. So basically, you can use Cilium, and you can do a lot of stuff with Cilium. So even I would say we are just surfacing the features that we can use to our feature set. So we can do
Yes,
a lot
yes.
of using Cilium as well as eBPF as a technology.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that addition, Lakmal. Like Lakmal said, don't be afraid to use Cilium. The community is always happy to support. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us today about, like, how Cilium is helping, empower your developer platform. And it's just really interesting to see that you're using Cilium for like zero trust, you're using Cilium for service mesh, you're using Cilium for observability. That's like really, really core use cases, right? And it's just nice that you were able to come on the Echo Show today to tell us about it and also educate us about it for, like, in case other people want to try it. So thank you once again for doing this. And folks, I think that would be the end of the stream today. One more thing before we go. Please register for the eBPF Summit coming up on 11th of September. Submit. There's a program committee deadline approaching. The program committee application deadline is approaching soon. So please, if you have production experience in eBPF, please help us, shape how eBPF Summit will look like this year. And also, the CFP deadline for eBPF Summit has been extended to to July 23rd. That's next week, Wednesday. So if you have any talk, if you want to join the speaker list for the eBPF Summit this year, please submit your talk, and we will be looking forward to having everybody this year for eBPF Summit. Thank you so much once again, Lakmal. Thank you everybody for joining Echo today. See you all next time. Bye.
Thanks, Shedrack. Bye.